Like I forgot where I heard this, but it's like you are the main character of your life. I think about, sometimes I'll think about, like, for example, yesterday, something happened and I'll think about it all day. And I'm like, oh, I should have done this differently, or I wish I did this differently. And like, this person's probably mad at me. They don't fucking care.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're not thinking about you. They're not in your body. They're not playing these same stories. They have totally different stories where they were different people too. So like, you are the main character. So if all these people are saying this shit about you, it's because they are putting their own drama or whatever their story is to you, but it has nothing to do with you.
Mm-mm.
And they don't know you, and they don't know your story or your background. And so like, if you're going to always let people get in your head like that, you're never going to change, evolve, adapt into the person that you want to truly be, because you're always going to let these other people bring you down.
Hey guys, welcome back to Inspired by the Inspire podcast, a show where we feature stories of individuals who have overcome challenges and found inspiration in their lives. Today we have a special guest, Tara Laferrara, a fitness coach and a social media influencer. Tara was a track star athlete who received a scholarship to attend college. However, she found herself in a problematic setting where she started partying, excessively drinking, and even binge eating. She was on the verge of losing her scholarship and the love for the sport that she was so passionate about. But then, Tara found fitness. It changed her life and helped her get back on track. Now she's in the best shape of her life and has been a social media influencer for nearly a decade. Through the platform, she's inspired and motivated others to be the best version of themselves. Join us as we dive into Tara's story and learn about how she overcome adversity to become a very successful fitness coach and influencer that she is today. Ladies and gentlemen, Tara Laferrara.
Tara, welcome in, and glad to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, no worries. I'd love to hear some of your stories. Like we actually found this the other day. We found a reel or a story on your Instagram. It was explaining how you became a personal trainer and your college experience. It was kind of, I don't know, I think it could really affect a lot of people, and I think you handled it such a great way. But the fact that they said your coach said that you were overweight on your second year, you lost your tracks. Go ahead and tell me exactly what your experience was, because I'm pretty sure it was more than a 30-second clip. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when I look back about it now, it was really hard, and I was in a really dark place for a really long time. But I'm really grateful that I went through it. I ran track in high school, and I was really fast. I was like really fast. Turn left. I won state my I guess it was my junior year of high school in Colorado here in the 200 meter. And I got a bunch of scholarship opportunities, but the first one that reached out to me was Drake University. It was a full ride.
Gotcha.
My parents were like, "You're going." And I was like, "It's in Iowa. I don't want to go to Iowa." But they made me sign, and I was like, all right. My senior year, I did even better, and I just like crushed it. And I was getting more letters, but I had already signed, and I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to Iowa. So I kind of had that thought already in my mind, right?
Right.
So then I went to school my freshman year. I'm a kid sister of 3 brothers.
Nice.
So I'm the only girl in my family, had all the curfews, and so I finally had freedom. So I drank a lot, I ate a lot, and I actually performed a lot worse than I did in high school. And so I did gain some weight, definitely the freshman 10 or 15 pounds. And my coach started to kind of notice, kind of like, poke. And so she set me up with a nutritionist, and then started to, just do a little bit more. And then early on in my sophomore year, I got injured. I tore my plantar fascia, which was pretty rough. And then I was in a boot, also overweight, and had all of this like weighing on me. My parents sent me Nutrisystem. You remember those packaged meals? I was still in a dorm room in sophomore year, and my friends would go out to the cafeteria, and I would just sit in the dorm room eating these packaged meals. Like, it was just depressing. And then they came home, and they would like go back out, and I would just like binge eat every night. And it was just like this vicious cycle. And my coach just sent an email out to me like, mid sophomore year. It was probably like around January, and was like, hey, if you don't lose the weight, and if you don't come back in next year at the weight that you started here, we can't offer you this scholarship anymore. Like, you're just not performing. You need to lose the weight. and she accidentally, I put that in quotes because
this was the part where I got to the point where I was like, it couldn't get much worse. And then you said that, and I was like, it just got a lot worse.
She said to the whole team, and I was just so like embarrassed and sad and just depressed. Like, it was really rough.
How did your team respond to that?
You know, I was really close to like 2 girls, and then some of my other friends were more just like not on the track team. So they were there for me, but the track team girls were like, I don't know what to think about it. I mean, it was like 2 weeks later that I was like, I need to leave. Like, I can't be here anymore. And then unfortunately, you know, moving back to Denver, I was the girl that gave up her scholarship and threw everything away. And so I, you know, went to a commuter school. I finished up at CU Denver, no longer had track. So I was like this total loss of identity. And it was like I was restarting. And it was just a really hard place to be for several years. But thankfully, fitness brought me out of that. And I realized that, you know, there was so much more to it than just being that track athlete.
So I know when you said, could you go over like how the group training workouts kind of got you back into it? Where's the time frame from community college, finished up there? Are you still in community college when you get that revamp of getting into fitness, or?
No. So I was 19, 20 basically when I came back to Denver and finished out school. Got an internship, was starting working, like just like right back in it. And the only thing I really knew how to do was like run. And even in the weight room, I like kind of didn't know what I was doing.
You like running.
But the runs though, let me tell you, Sean, I would go to a track and like run repeat 200s because that's what I did. I wouldn't run these long distance. And then
the sprints.
Yes. Yeah. But my stepdad at the time was like, I want to run a marathon. And I was like trying to get closer to him again. Also, he was already upset with me that I like gave all this up. So I was like, okay, I'll do a marathon with you. So I started training with him a little bit. Hated every second of it. It was the LA Marathon. And I was 22, I think, when I actually did that first one. And I was like, all right, I'd do it again. And it was like every time I did it, I just wanted to get closer to 4 hours. I actually ran 3 marathons and again, hated every second of it. And I only got to 407, but I was like, I'm done.
Do you hate running in general or just the length?
The length.
Because you went from running track, which is 200 meters, to 26.2 miles. So that's kind of, you could have met in the middle and you would have been okay.
No, and I literally never did anything past a 5K. I just went straight to the marathon.
Gotcha.
It was like ridiculous. But so I did that and I ran and that was like kind of my exercise, but I was still running by myself. Like I didn't have that community that I did with track. And then after that last one, I was like, I don't know what else to do. And so one of my friends was like, hey, I have this boot camp at the park. It's so much fun. There's like, you gotta go. And it was like weeks before I actually went. And then I went on a Saturday and I was like, oh, this is cool. It brought me back to like camaraderie, but also competition and like just fun. People were just like uplifting. It was just a cool experience.
Supportive challenge and all that. I get that.
Yeah. So that was like really when I was like, I felt lit up again. I was still kind of in this like drinking, binge eating, very dark place for a while, but going to that first workout at the park, I was like, I know now there's a light. It feels like there's an actual light at the end of the tunnel of like
I'm
getting
curious.
out of this.
What did you study in college?
Marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you use that quite a bit now, I'm assuming?
Well, no, I can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, you market yourself very well, and I think that's the best way to do it. If you want to be successful, especially in the social media, you have to be able to market yourself.
Yeah.
And you do a great job with it.
Thank
Were you looking for like any like marketing jobs at the time when you were doing more of the fitness?
Yes, actually, I had this like big goal. Did you guys ever watch Mad Men?
Yeah.
Do you know Joan? Like really big boob. I'm never gonna be Joan because I have very small boobs. But I like was like New York City advertising. Like that's where I wanted to be. And I actually did work in advertising for a couple years.
But was it as cool as Mad Men?
Oh my God, no. It was in Denver. Like not at all.
I felt for the same thing. I did criminal behavior. I did like forensics when I was in, I think it was college, my freshman year of college, because I love CSI.
Yes.
And I was like, this is going to be amazing. And then I got there and it was like, you're sitting at a desk and you get like these little slides and you're like, what is it? And I was like, this is stupid as shit.
Yeah, it's the TV show. You're like, oh, you have this cool, like, oh, no, it's not like that at all. Yeah. So I started to teach group fitness classes after I went to that, boot camp at the park, and I just started going, and they were opening up a studio, and I was like, one of the trainers asked me if I wanted to coach, and I was like, yeah, this is so fun. And then I remember it was, August on a Friday, my first class ever, almost 11 years ago now. And so, and then I would teach like early in the morning, go to my 9 to 5 job, and then teach at night. Like,
Were you certified at this time?
yeah, I did.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. I got certified like a few months into, group fitness only,
Gotcha.
not personal training. So you know how easy it is to get group fitness
Yeah, right.
certification.
Yeah. Take a little cert.
Yeah, you're like, let me
like,
just
cool,
sign the
ready
dotted
to
line. Yeah. It's like CPR. Okay, got it.
Got it.
Yeah. And then, it wasn't actually until I got laid off from my advertising job that I made fitness my full-time
Gotcha.
gig. Yeah.
Perfect.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And was it strictly in gym, or were you making that transition more online at that point?
Just gym. Yeah.
Okay.
I was teaching group classes, and then I did get my personal training cert and started teaching or coaching some of those. Yeah, as well.
So, okay, in the physical, let's say somebody comes to you, one of your clients says, I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the stepping process that you take? Because I think all trainers go different route. Some people all believe that all bodies are created equal. It's kind of easy just to give them a pamphlet or like a cert that they have, or a program that's already been set. How do you approach when someone comes to you and go, I want to lose 20 pounds?
I will say first and foremost, I'm not a weight loss coach.
Okay.
I am more of a body image, self-esteem, movement, confidence kind of coach. So if someone comes into me with just that specific goal, I either ask them to reassess why they want that goal, or I send them to someone that's specific to helping them lose that weight. And most of like what I like to help clients understand is like, what is your purpose behind losing the weight? What is your why? And like, where did that number actually come from?
Right.
And for some people, they can figure that out. And for others, it's just like, no, I just want to lose it. And I'm like, okay, here's a nutritionist that I work with. But if they come to me and just say that, I'm like, okay, these are the steps that we're going to take. You may lose the weight. You may gain confidence, but you're definitely going to get stronger.
Teaching movement will help lose the weight depending on how far they go into it. Yeah, because I know I've seen you work out with your clients, and that's why I was kind of asking. I was wondering to myself is how she approaches each and every client.
Yeah.
And how you create your programs. And I know you do have the TL method. If you do want to talk about the TL method and the TL strength, and how you kind of who is it specified for?
Yeah.
Who are you going for? Who do you want to attract the most in going with the method and the strength training?
For sure. So TL Method is my accessible, affordable program. It's for people that mostly work out at home. All you need are dumbbells, resistance bands, and a bench. So I would say typically a lot of those people are busy at home, moms, working for themselves stuff, and they don't have a ton of time. They don't have a ton of equipment. They don't maybe have access to a gym. And so it's really easy to just jump in, get your workout of the day, and pop out. There's a ton of different variation. And again, it's just accessible for anyone. And then I have TL Strength, which is my like, let's learn what a barbell is, how to get under a barbell. And then I have one-on-one coaching. That's where I do a lot of like custom programming based on people's goals, frequency, what they're looking to accomplish out of movement. But I would say in general, especially over the past few years, it stems from a strictly strength training base.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think people would benefit more from just more pure strength kind of in a way?
Yes. I mean, I'm like a very much resistance training person, but I come from a HIIT, running, yoga, kettlebells, mobility background. And I understand that there's so many other modalities out there, but like people come to me to lift heavy shit and feel really confident in and out of the gym. Yeah.
So you do one-on-one, but group training got you into the mix of fitness.
Yes.
Do you still do group training, or you're just...
I don't at all anymore. Since we moved to Austin about a year and a half ago, I don't teach any classes to a group anymore. I will sometimes. I come back to Denver, once a quarter or so, and like I have a really good friend, Fit Collective Denver. If you're here, she has a really great studio that I will teach classes out of, but. I'm just not much of a HIIT person anymore. I just feel like so many people, especially women, can benefit from strength training.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Perfect. I do want to talk about the best part of this whole experience that I would love to attend is your Costa Rica retreat program that's coming up in a couple of weeks. 2 weeks?
April 27th.
April 27th, so a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Tell me about this. I've went to your application and I saw pictures and all stuff, but tell me the personal experience that you'll get if you attend the Costa Rica retreat.
Yeah, so I've run 2 retreats before. One of them was in Costa Rica and one of them was in Tulum, but I ran it with another gal. It was yoga and fitness, and this is my first that I'm doing like fully solo. And I love to travel. My husband and I travel all the time, and I just wanted to make it a movement, mindfulness, but like also exploration and adventure kind of retreat. So I was like, this is literally like my favorite type of vacation. It's coffee in the morning, it's movement, meditation, mindfulness. Then it's like either relax or like, let's go surfing. We're doing a surfing lesson. We're going on a snorkeling catamaran tour. We're going to do some salsa dancing lessons, good food, like great company. But then also there's just like open time for you to go explore Tamarindo too. So it's a vacation, it's movement, but there's no like detox or any of that BS that can come with some retreats out there. So
how did you affiliate yourself with the retreat itself? Like, because you're using their, you know, like, do you guys have a mutual agreement, or how does that work?
What do you mean by
for the retreat itself? Is it like a hotel, or what is it?
Yeah, so it's like lodging basically.
I guess you're bringing in people, so they don't.
Okay. So in the past, my friend and I actually put it together ourselves, but I actually hired a coordinator to like do this. And so she worked with the retreat center and then the restaurants that are around, and and then she helped me put all like the transportation and stuff together. So it's nice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you mentioned your husband earlier. He's your photographer and your video model.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm sure you've seen some videos of him
on
online.
Him wanting to do that, or is that being forced to do that?
He's a photographer. Actually,
I meant the video model part. That's what I meant.
Video model, like he's.
So you specify like he's in some of your.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like Teddy is like such a part of my brand now. We've been together for 8 years, and we actually met at the advertising agency that I was talking about. And he is a video and photographer. Like he went to school for film at DU. Like that's his bread and butter. And he was for a long time doing stuff for free for me. And then I was like, I feel like I need to pay you. So he was actually my first contract employee. Nice. And now, he definitely does photos for me. And we're at a point where like we can just go out and take photos, and it takes 15 minutes for all of these photos. But now, like with my social media, people just like him. He's just witty. He's funny. He's like in the background, but people are like, oh yeah, we want more Teddy. So sometimes he wants to do it. And sometimes I'm like, please, we need more of you. I need my views up. I need your help. Yeah. So.
Were you making some of the content before him?
Yes, but I would say like we've been together for so long that like he, took a lot of my photos like right in the beginning. I've had my Instagram for like probably 8 years now.
Okay.
So yeah, I think some of my first photos were actually photos that he took of me.
Nice.
Yeah. So
tell me about some of your social media, like the process, because you're very consistent on it.
Yeah.
So when you come up with your ideas for each and every video, is it planned, or do you just come up with an idea and go, I want to talk about this because someone asked a question or left a comment? So how do you come up with your video ideas?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think sometimes I'm really good at strategy and like, keeping with the schedule. And other times things just like pop up and I'll be like, oh, this is a really great idea. I saw it somewhere else and let me put like my little spin on it. Yeah. Or man, my clients are asking me the same questions over and over again. Like, let me just make a video of this. Like recently I was like, I need to make a video of how to film yourself. Cause like my clients are just like, they're showing me their feet when I'm asking for their squat. So I'm like, let me just put a video together for that. So I would say typically I'll have like a theme of the month and I'll try to like stay around that for like at least half of my content that I put out there. But then other times I just like get inspiration usually from seeing other people do their stuff.
Do you have any like big fitness influencers that you really pull from that kind of inspire you?
One of them recently is Whitney Simmons. I don't know if she's just really funny and quirky, and she does a lot of like the mic'd up stuff. I don't know if you follow like some of the fitness stuff. And I just started doing that and it's fun. It's like you can kind of, people feel like they're like a part of your workout and they like hear your thoughts and they're like, oh, she struggles with that just as much as I do. Or like, and then sometimes I'll mic Teddy up, which people love because he's always just like, fuck, like, why are we doing this? Like, so yeah, I like, she's one that I look at. There's a lot of fitness influencers out there that just kind of like post butt selfies, which I really try to stay away from. But most of the time I would say it's more of the lifestyle stuff I get ideas from, and then just kind of try and make it more fitness related or relevant.
Outside of the physical fitness, who inspires you?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Like Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
I love Mel Robbins.
Mel Robbins helped me with I remember seeing, she has a classic, The Snooze, you know.
Yeah,
it
5-second rule.
5-second rule.
Yeah.
And that really helped me out a lot because I would have like, my snooze alarm is like 6:15, 6:12, 6, like it's like every 4 minutes. And I kept doing
Yes.
it. And when I saw that, I was like, I'm stronger than just waking up. Because when you set yourself into a progression of success in the morning,
Yeah.
we mentioned this before, like making the bed. You make the bed, you're
Yes.
already start off in the success part.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, there's a lot of people who are out there, and it doesn't have to necessarily specify with physical fitness.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of inspiration. Just the smallest amount of detail in someone's life can
Yeah.
benefit a long way. So you got Mel Robbins. Who else you got?
I would say like more closer my friends. And like it's a smaller level, but like I see some of the stuff that they're doing and I'm like, this is so cool. This is so inspiring. They're putting on new events or maybe hosting a larger workshop or retreat somewhere. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool that you're able to do this. And like it stemmed from an idea that like just came up, like it just came out of nowhere. So I would say more like the closer people around me and less like these more influential figures. But Mel Robbins is really interesting because she has the 5-second rule, but she also has this thing recently that I was listening to a podcast for, where it's like, look in the mirror and give yourself a high five every day. And my clients could really relate to that because it's like so often they compare to everyone else or like what they used to be like. And when you really look in your eyes at yourself, it does crazy wonders.
Yeah.
And so I've been using those two, the 5-second rule and like the high five in the mirror with some of my clients. Thought ladders, those kind of things that just like are mindset shifts that have really helped a lot of myself and a lot of my clients too.
Perfect.
So
You think there's a lot of struggle with more just building self-awareness, more of that self-love and appreciation?
yes, I would say most of the time, most of my clients, it's not about what they look like at all.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
There's so many stories that they were told or think or believe based on society or family or friends that have said something. You know, sometimes I'll like be like, well, where did you get that from? And they'll be like, well, when I was 5 years old, I'm like, oh my God, you're 47.
Yeah.
You know, but like when you just, that it's hard to let go. And so I think so much of it is mental.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than what they actually
So that's not
look
necessarily your job, but do you intake? Because I know like a lot of personal trainers will get, or fitness coaches will get very in depth with their client. They really want to help them.
Yeah.
And are you the type of person that goes, hey, that's not my type of thing? Like your mental status isn't my kind of thing? Or do you really try to help break those barriers down and break those walls down so they can move forward?
Yes, definitely. I try as hard as I can, but I'm not a therapist. I really try to, like, to be honest, just stay in my lane. And I know a lot and can help a lot, but there are just some times where I'll just be like, that's for a dietitian, a pelvic floor therapist, someone that can really help you. And I feel as though I'm pretty honest with that. But with the mindset thing, sometimes it's just like talking through it and like figuring out if it's facts, like if this is a reality or if this is something they made up in their head or just like have thought about for so long that they believe is true. But I have different ways to work with me. And so like I would say I'm more of like let me hold your hand through this process. We do a lot of that mindset work. On the people that like just want custom programming and like want to get their workouts in, not as much. It's more I'll send them podcasts and we'll kind of voice note back and forth to each other, but it's a little bit harder over text to get that deep into conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like a lot of the clients that, especially what you've had and I had, was more about the mental status, the emotional status.
Yeah.
Eating is usually the biggest problem with a
Yeah.
lot of people, and like you said, when it comes into what other people like, where'd you hear that from? And
Yeah.
nutrition's such a sore subject, you know, because there's so many different type of profiles to go for. What's your take on nutrition and overall, like how important is it to get on the right track to get either losing weight or getting movement or just being active and functional as a human being?
Yeah, and it's a really great question and something I get asked from my clients all the time. But I'm really strict on like, I'm not going to give you a number to hit. I don't focus on weight loss. I'm not going to do anything with how much you weigh on a scale, just because I come from a disordered eating background and a lot of my clients have that binge eating or, you know, stuff like that in the background. However, intuitive eating is kind of where I really focus a lot of my attention with. And a lot of people think that's like means, oh my God, I eat whatever I want. You can do whatever you want. And that's not what it's focused on. It's being mindful just of like movement practice. It's like, what are you feeling? What is this mind muscle connection? What am I eating? Why am I eating it?
How do you feel after you've eaten it?
Exactly. Is this fueling what I'm doing next? These workouts that I'm getting into. And so a lot of the stuff that I work on with clients is more just food journaling. Okay, like I ate this croissant and coffee. How did it feel? Oh my, it was delicious. Awesome. Well, how did you feel an hour afterwards? Great. Oh, you feel like shit. I felt great.
I feel great. As an endurance runner, I feel great. I have no problem with it. But a lot of people do that. Like they'll either eat too much or they eat something that their body doesn't.
Yes.
Because a lot of it has to do with like the way your sugar levels are and your blood type.
Totally.
Or your food. Like your blood type determines what food you can have in the first place.
Yeah.
So when you eat something and you're like, oh, I feel like crap. But some people are just so used to it that they think that's normal.
Yes.
So it's
Like
one of
I
those
ate
things
this, drank my coffee, I was high off that, and then I crashed.
Yes.
Like, maybe we look at that a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's really just like being aware of it. And like if it's a food journal and you're doing it a couple times, I usually be like, all right, do it on a Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. You know, at least one weekend day, like see how you feel and then see how you feel the next day. For me, it's pizza. I'm like, I know I'm going to be gassy. Yeah. That is just what's going to happen for me. But it's like, I'm also going to eat it every once in a while because I enjoy it, you know? And I think just if people were just a little bit more aware of their body, so much of what we see about nutrition or like, you know, it's so confusing will be a little bit looser.
Gotcha.
And you'll feel a little bit more aware of it. But of course people need different things. And that's why like I'll send them to someone that is more focused on that if they're looking for it.
Do you strictly teach or train just women, or is it women and men?
Women and men, but I would say at this point in my career, it's probably 95% women. Even I used to train my husband for a long time, and finally last summer.
How did that work out?
Yeah,
I feel like that's going to be a hard. Come on, you got to do that. I am doing this.
Finally, after like last summer, he started working with a male coach, and he enjoys it, and it's great for him. But at the same time, it's like I have my own coach, he has his own coach. Like we do our thing, but he still asks me questions all the time, and like we'll still like, you know, I'm happy to help when he needs because his coach is also online, and so it's nice to have someone in person to kind of help with that as well. Absolutely. But I just feel like I relate more with women. I can really understand it more. I want to learn. You know, I'm really well versed in premenopause, perimenopause, and menopausal women, and I feel like there's not a ton of trainers out there that talk about that, and would love to learn more about like pre and postnatal and stuff like that. So I just feel a lot, you know, more in tune with women.
Well, especially in fitness, like there's no like I learn everything. I'm good. It's always a learn. Like you got to learn everything. There's so many different like certs or whatever, but there's so many different areas just to expand your knowledge. And
exactly.
And people, especially male, I think I've known male fitness instructors who kind of sway away from that. Like they don't feel like it's not their route, or I don't know, for whatever reason. But I think knowing about like what goes with menopause, what goes with women outside of just eating and exercise can benefit the world in such a great place, because it's like it's the little things that no one really factors in. Like as a coach, I'm not going to go, oh yeah, you're going through menopause. I get it. But I think men kind of get to the point where like we get scared to bring things up. Yeah. But I think when we open it up to such a if it's not a secret anymore, if it's okay to talk about, just like anything else that like with any type of prejudice, when we talk about it, I think people feel more secure with it. Yeah. So how do you kind of talk to your clients about kind of opening them up a little bit? Like when it comes into, let's say if you did have a male client, like he was going through his struggles, do you approach men and women differently in how to talk to them? I know that no one's like set the same way, but do you kind of like, I'll hand you off immediately, or do you kind of try to figure out that barrier with men?
Yeah, I guess I just figure it out a little bit first. Like I have an initial conversation with everyone before I even work with them, because I want to make sure it's a good fit and a good vibe. And for men, just in general, I would say you guys are harder to break down. For women, it's like
we're so simple. Like,
you're simple.
We're simple, but it's hard. Yeah, I get it.
I think there's a lot of guys of ego that kicks in.
Yeah, guys are like, I want big muscles, or I want this, and you're like, how do you? I don't know. You're the coach. You tell me. Yeah. Women are just they're such a detailed like platform, like a blueprint that you kind of have to break down. Men are just like, I want this. Yeah. Get me there.
And you don't even know why. And there is no, and like for some women, I'll get on the phone with them and 2 minutes in, first meeting them, they're bawling and telling me their whole story. And just like, I feel like I, can offer that to them too. For some men, I'll get on the phone and they'll just be like, yeah, I just want this, and this is what, and I'm like, okay, tell me more about your background. And they're like, oh, I just like want to work out, and I like to work out, so just give me a workout kind of thing. It's very like hard wall, and so it's harder for me to like really get in depth with them.
You're like,
and
why is your drive to do this?
And I'll be honest with you, most of the few men that I work with, again, it's mostly women, but we just don't get that deep.
Yeah.
And even my husband, he'll be like, why are you talking about me like this? It's hard for me to break him down too. Just like there's just this, I think there's still in this world such a hard men, we don't cry, we are so manly, and I'm like, no, like it's okay to show your emotions and like let it loose, because you have the same stories that, not the same, but similar, like stuff that's bugged you for a really long time. Like,
for sure.
Let's talk body image. Like, let's talk about it, but it's a little bit harder for me.
Well, it's from a male perspective, it is hard because I remember when I was a kid. I mean, if you scratching, if you're, my dad would be like, "Are you bleeding? Is it broken? All right, get back up. Stop crying like a little girl." And I'm like they put that in our heads, going, "Oh, wait, we're not supposed to show emotion.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be emotional." Like I remember sometimes where like there would be not a serious situation, but it would make you like tear up, and I'm like, no, just. Instead of letting it out, there's a movie there's a TV show on Apple called Shrinking. And it's
I love that
it's such a great show because
so
I love when Harrison Ford goes, or 15 minutes of just let everything out, which is actually a great practice. But we were never told that kind of thing as an emotional state. It's always you're a man,
you gotta be tough.
Act like a man, be tough.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't expect you to know how to break that down when it comes to doing it. But I was like, do you ever experience that point where some people or guys come up to you and they're just like so emotionless in how they talk, and do they break down, or do you really kind of see if that's the root of the problem, I'll break it down, but if it's not, I'll let them kind of be who they want to be?
I'll be honest with you, I have 3 brothers and I've never seen them break down like that. And they're 2 older than me, 1 younger, and sometimes I tell me more, and they'll just be like, no, hard face, and so no, I would say like it's tough. It's really hard for me to like get to that place, and I think because I'm so like female focused now and working with women, maybe I just have this aura where people will open up to me and feel more comfortable. I don't have that with men yet. It's something maybe we'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do want to. I noticed on some of yours or a couple of pictures that you did the Spartan race, the DECA Spartan race.
Yeah.
Do you normally do those events, or I know you do have a competition coming up, or is it? Yeah. So go ahead and explain that.
Yeah. So I'm an athlete at heart, so I just like competitions. For a while, I'll just maintain for a while, and I just like to move, of course, but. Late last year, I was like, I really want to do something. I feel like I need to train for something. I feel like I need something. And so DECA Fit is it's a part of a Spartan. Mm-hmm. It's 10 exercises, and then in between you run 500 meters.
Kind of like a CrossFit. Right?
Yeah. Have you heard of High Rocks? Mm-hmm. It's like half of High Rocks.
Gotcha.
And High Rocks is very intense.
Yeah,
it's 1,000 meters in between. And I was like, okay, if DECA Fit goes well, I'll do High Rocks. It went fine. But I don't want to do High Rocks. It's just not how I train anymore. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's like, box jumps and fast farmers carries and sled pushes and, ski erg and assault bikes. And it was really tough. And I just don't train that much like that anymore. Yeah. I'm more of like heavy strength and just like to be really fucking strong.
Mm-hmm. So you said you have your coach. What's kind of like your training goals right now that you're aiming for?
Yeah, I'm so the competition that I'm doing is on April 1st. It's called Strong Lifting, which is basically powerlifting, so squat, bench, and dead, plus 3 more moves. Heaviest hip thrust, heaviest chin up, and heaviest overhead press.
Gotcha.
And it's all 6 moves in one day, which is a big day. And then you've got 3 lifts where you can, go your heaviest. Mm-hmm. And so right now I'm training for that. And it's in 3 weeks, I guess, from yesterday. I guess whenever this goes live. It's on April 1st. And I'm feeling freaking strong. Like it just feels really good. And I haven't been able to train, like the last time I did this was 2 years ago. So I'm hitting big PRs, which is really good. I was
about to say, I've seen recently that you post some of your heavier lifts.
Yeah.
Where there was some new PRs.
The deadlifts, yeah. Before my last competition, I strained my hamstring and I squat more than I deadlift last time. And then I just got really scared. It was like a mindset thing where I just couldn't lift it off the ground. And then, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was just like, I'm going to just go for it and see how it feels. And I was like, oh, I can do it. And every week I keep going a little bit heavier on it and just feeling really strong. So it's going well.
How are your other competitions that you went through?
Really good. I've have the heaviest bench from the group of people that I've, been working with, the heaviest bench and overhead press. I've always been a lower body strength person, specifically with track. So upper body has actually been fun to like work through and get stronger on. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you have anything else besides the one that coming up in April 1st? Do you have anything else that gets your eye going for another challenge?
No.
Any races?
No.
Taking a year off.
No more running. No, actually, after this though, I'd like to get more into like plyometrics and athletics type things. I've always been like ladder drills and box jumps, and like I've got a 50-inch box jump, so I can get pretty high. So I want to get a little bit more into that.
About like some of the calisthenics aspects.
So hard.
For sure.
Speaking of putting in the reps, like I've always wanted to be able to do a muscle up, but just like the actual technique to like get down is.
I always want to do a flag. The flag.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
what I want.
so insane. Or the planche.
Yeah.
Where you're just doing a plank with your hands.
Yeah, but I think when you break it down, when you do the basics, like you kind of like a lot of people just doing it right now sucks. But if you broke it down
Can you do it right now? Come on.
I can't do it right now. I can do it in the gym.
Come on, right now.
I can do it. Yeah.
Wait, for really? You
muscle ups and yeah.
You can do a planche right now.
No, I can't do it right now. There's no room.
I'm not saying like right.
I'm not gonna be like, oh guys, 1 second.
Let's
I'll be right back.
Okay, but after this, you're gonna show me.
I just woke up like an hour ago. But yeah, like it's the procedure. Like if you can take, because there's a guy named Frank Morano. I can't remember his last.
I've heard of this person.
Bald guy.
Yes.
Ripped or whatever. I've been following for years.
Yes.
And his ability, like when he did the flags, he taught me, like you've seen me do the push-ups where you do the
archer push-ups.
The windshield push-ups.
Yeah.
He taught me all this kind of stuff. So like learning from him, but when you do certain things, like when you look at right off the bat, you can't just do the flag or
of course.
You got to break it down into the thing. But that was, to me, like the flag was always, I was like, I wanted, that says all core strength.
Yeah.
That's
just like you can't be like, I'm going to deadlift 350 tomorrow.
Or run a marathon.
Or run a marathon. Well, I mean, I guess you could.
Technically, anybody can run a marathon. Anybody can do a marathon.
Can you survive
but
it?
can you run it the entire way through? Can you
not get
have
cut off
good
by
numbers?
The flag.
Have you good numbers and all that stuff?
Yeah.
But speaking of that, so if you could do any sport, anything, what would you do? What's the sport if you could attack? Because I know you did track.
Yeah.
So if you could do a sport right now, if you're like, I'm going after my goal, I'm going after my life dream, what sport would you do? If you would do any. If you would do any.
Gosh, what is that? I don't know. You know what I've been loving? This is going to sound so stupid. Pickleball.
Pickleball.
I've never heard of pickleball until I moved to Denver. Until I moved here, and I went to a gym, the Colorado Athletic Club, and I was like, he was giving me a tour, and he was like, we have 6 pickleballs. And I was like, why would you build so many fucking pickleballs? Who's gonna do it? And I went out there, and there was like 100 people.
It's extreme.
There was 5 people on the tennis court, and there was 100 people in the pickleball spot. And I was like, I gotta know what this is. It sounds a lot. It's cooler than it sounds.
It's so fun. Yeah. And actually, I wouldn't say like, let me be so good at this. I don't know, maybe gymnastics or something like something totally. Totally something I've never done before. But it's just this fun, like, it's really big in Austin right now, pickleball, and it's more of a fun game, but there are some like really intense people, and I'm like, I just want to get better at that. And I'll be honest with you, like I'm right dominant. I feel like my left hand like doesn't exist sometimes. So I'm like, I need to just practice more with both and be able to do more cool moves.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So speaking of sports, when you got into track, is that what you wanted to do, or were you kind of forced into it?
Oh, this is a good story.
Okay.
I love basketball and volleyball. I love basketball though, and I have a pretty good jump shot, I will say. So
you want to show it? I got a basketball court. Okay.
Yes, after
I'll do the planche.
You do the planche, and I'll be
play
jump
11.
shot. Yeah. Probably not anymore though. It's been a long time, but I just loved basketball, and I was just like a huge fan of it. So my freshman year, I made the JV team, and I would be so fast. What I would do is I'd steal the ball, I'd run down the court with the ball, and never make the layup. Like it would just like blow off the side because I was like just running faster than the ball. I would just like boom, and it was just I missed so many of those. I made the jump shots but missed the layups. And my coach was finally like, you're good. But like you should try out for track. And I was like, no, that's so stupid. Like it was so stupid to me. I'm like, people just run. And he's like, yeah, you should do it. And I made state my freshman year, and I was like, okay, I'm better at this. I might as well stick with this.
The 200 event?
100 and 200. Okay. Yeah. And then as I actually like went on with my track career, it was more 2-4, just because out of the gate, you've got to be so fast in the 100, and I just wasn't totally there. But I had a really good turn. and the 200. So then I like gave up basketball to basically do track around, like year round. So I ran indoor track. I was on the club team in the summer and just loved it.
Well, I know your second year sucked, but how was your first year?
Oh, in college, you mean?
Yeah.
It was fine. I basically hit like the same numbers, but also, you're a very small fish in a very big pond in college. You like think you're all this like hot shit in Colorado, and then you go to college and you're like, I am no longer that hot shit. Yeah. So, pretty much the same numbers, but then like, I obviously was like binge eating and drinking a lot. So I was partying a lot. Like I was deep in the drinking phase of my life. So that was not great.
How was your mindset though? Was it the fact that, I'll be okay, I'll do it, I'll be able to wake up tomorrow and run this, training, and I'll be okay? Or was it just like you just kind of stopped caring, or you didn't want to do it anymore? What was your mindset during that transition?
Yeah, I was still like, for my freshman year, I was like really still in it. I mean, I still worked out twice a day, like 2 a days, and I still showed up to everything and did everything that I had to do. I was just Thursday to Sunday party mode for sure. And then I significantly got worse, and then I got injured. And then once I got injured, it was like game over. I was like, on this stationary bike, and everyone was out running, and then it was just a pretty bad place. And then, that email came, and it was, bad from there. But
when did you kind of make like the kind of dialed in switch to really change in your health? Was it during some of that small group training?
Yeah, I would say it was like pretty close to when I first went to that boot camp at the park. I was probably like 22, 23. Yeah, it was like a couple of years of when I came back from college. I was working as a bartender.
That's the worst job in the world.
So,
when you want to
of
be.
course.
Yeah.
Drinking a lot. So for a couple of years, I was like that. And I was just like in this bad hole. I was hanging out with the people also that, drank, bartenders and servers and stuff. And then, I was like, when I went to that work out at the park, and then I got a full-time job. And then I, kept trying to push away the bartending stuff and get more into fitness and just have a full-time career. So that's kind of when I made that switch. But it definitely took time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there any like tips or tricks that kind of helped pulled you out of that a little bit?
People, surrounding yourself with like good, uplifting, positive people is just, I would say, the biggest thing. And getting out of my parents' house, that was a huge thing. I just felt like I was in a pretty bad place there, because they were also just like, I just felt the disappointment for like years, and it just was like not a great feeling. So getting out of there, getting a full-time job, even though my first job ever full-time was $28,000 a year. I was making so much less as a server than at this job, but I like knew I needed to like get out of that just for my own mental well-being. And then I had like some different kind of friends, and then I had, my health and fitness friends. So it was just like getting there, but also just like putting less strictness on food. Because even after I did like Nutrisystem for a little while, I came back home, and then I was like, my mom and I were eating chicken and broccoli 6 times a day, and I lost weight fast, of course. Tried lemonade. I tried all the diets in the world. Yeah. And then finally was like, I can't do this anymore. Like it was a gradual thing. Like I still had some binge eating episodes, but it was, putting this focus on more just like intuitive, like just being really mindful of like, does this feel good in my workout? How do I feel afterwards? Do I want to throw up right now? Like this is not a good feel, so it's just a gradual over time, I would say.
So we're coming back to present day. You're in the best shape you've ever been in.
Ooh, I got these
there
muscles.
You go.
I feel like I've been the same weight and the same kind of body
but
for like several years, but strength wise, and also like I've definitely gotten stronger. My upper body, memories pop up on Facebook or whatever. I'm like, oh damn, I'm feeling jacked now. All
Look
right,
at me now.
yes.
Yeah.
So going into that, we're going to talk about obviously more of a serious subject is when it comes into your social media. I've been through a bunch of them. Even you post it as well.
Yeah.
Is the negative comments that you kind of receive and the stupid ass people who decide to think their opinion matters. But how do you deal with when people say you're built like a man, or I think one person said something about a tran, or just because they feel like women can't be strong and cut and shredded. Yeah. How is your intake of it? Because I know a lot of women probably want to absolutely look like you, but it's the same thing as where they hear it in the back of their head, they kind of like, oh, I'm not supposed to. Yeah. How do you kind of deal with it internally, and then externally, if somebody had that goal in mind, how do you kind of say, fuck what you hear kind of thing.
I will be honest, like, you know, if I heard any of these comments when I was going through that really rough time in my life, I would have been
Broken.
not good.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately where I feel the worst, is that I know that there's definitely people that are younger than me that aren't at the phase I am in my life where I can brush it off, that it hurts them so much more.
Yeah.
Like if somebody said those things to me where I know I was like overweight, and I say it with quotes because I was never overweight, but I always felt like I was because of comments from mom or coach or whatever it was. I just would have not been in a good place. I've always also, like, even growing up as a teen, had bigger legs. And so I always wanted to make them smaller. Now I'm like, for the last few years, for the first time in my life, I'm like, yeah, let's make them bigger. Let's make them stronger. Let's take up more space. More. Let's go. But I'm like, you know, when these comments first came out, I was like going viral on TikTok a lot. And those were so hard because those comments on TikTok, they're so mean. Yeah. But I was still trying to like grow my presence on there, and I was like, gotta push them aside. So I filtered out the comments, deleted all of them or whatever. But I first got like a lot of the trans comments, and that is really interesting to me because we're in a world right now where, you know, people can finally be themselves, and which is very incredible to be at. But it's hard as a woman from a female body my entire life hearing that I was a man, you know, and so I go back and forth. I'm like, I still want to be big. I want to be strong, but I'm also like, God, I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, can I give myself a high five today? Do I actually feel this, or do I feel those really hurtful comments like coming back at me? And really, it goes back down to like who I am as a person, and just trying to be my truest and most bold and bright self. And I know that all those people just sit behind their keyboards and will say whatever the fuck they want. And I can't let that negativity or their blank screen or, you know, get in, you know, where I am mentally. But it can be very hurtful, you know, in a lot of ways. Now, though, I take a lot of those comments and turn them into, you know, videos, because it's like people need to see that, hey, this is still happening, and happening in a really big way. It's really easy to filter out who you see and what you see. And so people don't see a lot of the DMs that I get or a lot of these comments. So I'm like, let's make videos out of this so people can see how shitty people are out there. But also I'm like, yo, if I look like a man, like, okay, well, maybe they would too if they started lifting weights.
It's usually the people who are like,
you scrawny ass, like whatever.
I've received negative comments, but and then you're like, damn, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I shouldn't do it. And then I look at like Kim K gets, you're ugly, or you're fat, or whatever. Like the mean tweets from like Jimmy Kimmel, like you have like professional athletes or professional actors and actresses, gorgeous people, and they're like, we don't like your face, we don't like your nose. Like they're just, people just think that they need to be relevant. People need to have their, like, they want to break you because it's somewhere along the lines they were broken. So I guess they
still are.
They still are, absolutely. And they feel like their opinion matters, I guess. But how would you bring that back to someone if someone came to you and go, hey, I wanted to do what you're doing, but, you know, someone said I look like a man, or someone says I shouldn't be this.
Yeah.
What's the inspiration that you can give someone to go,
fuck them.
Fuck them.
Yeah. Who are they?
Yeah.
Like I forgot where I heard this, but it's like, you are the main character of your life. You know, sometimes I'll think about, like, for example, yesterday, you know, something happened and I'll think about it all day. And I'm like, I should have done this differently, or I wish I did this differently. And like, this person's probably mad at me. They don't fucking care.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about you. They're not in your body. They're not playing these same stories. They have totally different stories where they were different people too. So like, you are the main character. So if all these people are saying this shit about you, it's because they are putting their own drama or whatever their story is to you, but it has nothing to do with you. And they don't know you, and they don't know your story or your background. And so like, if you're going to always let people get in your head like that, you're never going to change, evolve, adapt into the person that you want to truly be, because you're always going to let these other people bring you down.
Absolutely.
And I think for me personally, I've finally got to a point, I think it's the 30s. I'm like in my 30s. Yeah. I'm like, people are going to say what they want to say, and I can't please everyone. I can't work with everyone. I don't want to work with everyone. And really, like, if everyone liked you, that means you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Out of your female clients, have you ever had any that came in where they're Because it's very common where they're like, oh, I want to get toned, lose some weight, but I don't want to get bulky or any of that.
I don't want to lift weights. I don't want to get big.
Bulky. Yes, man, that still comes up. Not as often though, because I really feel like my audience knows who I am.
Well, you're so vocal with everything.
Yeah.
So no, that's good because then they can pinpoint like exactly like, oh, well, she already said I'm not going to do this. She, you know, some people, if you meet someone for the first time, there's a lot of explaining, a lot of storytelling, a lot of how you got your background. But since you're so active on social media, it does bring out your story,
your brand now, you.
Yeah, but then there's still like, you know, random posts will go viral and they'll just see that one.
Of course.
So they have to go through the page or whatever. Like recently, I posted a video. There was this woman one time that looked at me. She was training with someone else. And I think it was kind of funny, jokey, whatever. But she was like doing banded lateral walks. I had just got done with a squat session. My legs were like, you know, feeling strong. And she looked at my legs and then looked at her trainer and was like, oh, we got to stop doing this. I don't want legs like hers.
Yeah.
And I was like, legs like mine, girl, you wish. This is 10 plus years in the making. I'm like, I'm trying to make these strong and big and bulky.
Right.
And like, I think people just still don't understand. And especially women that are a little bit older, they think you lift 10-pound bicep curls and all of a sudden get bulky, you know,
Bam,
Hulk
look at
arms
that.
overnight.
Yeah.
And really, we have to think about bulky being a subjective word.
Yeah.
You know, there was an article that's come out that's like, you know, people think Jessica Biel is bulky. And you're like, Jessica Biel? She's like, a what? And then, you know, so... But it's all just like what you perceive. So it's tough. It's understandable that the word tone is still a thing because it's just a marketing ploy. Toning is really just gaining more muscle and losing more fat. But people don't want to say or use the word muscle because they're scared of that. But that is literally what the word tone is.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just like, a lot of times I try to just educate them. To like, okay, well, if this happens, then this will happen. And that is the goal of what you want. But sometimes it just takes a little bit longer for them to like figure out what it is.
It usually starts off with, I read this or I heard this once. Is this true?
Yeah.
I get a lot like shredded and tone, two different things.
Totally.
Shredded is the extreme, tone is seeing muscle definition.
Yeah.
When people say like lean and skinny, like if you call a lean person skinny, that's offended. If you call a thick person fat, that's offended. Because it's like it's the usage of words that people don't understand that really figures out exactly what goal you want. Like I want to be lean, I want this. So it's like understanding that there's different body frames out there and also different body structures. Some people can't get as big as you know they want to be. You know, like some people are
Genetics.
like, like I'll get someone come. I used to get someone to come in and go, I'm gonna look like him. I'm like, that's Hugh Jackman in the Wolverine. Like, what do you mean? Like he's like,
like,
make it
"That's gonna be
happen.
intense."
6 months, you make it happen. So it's like,
You're like Brad Pitt Fight Club.
it's like they have to understand the process of it. So
It's funny. I have my grandpa. He's like, you're not building muscle or getting big. I was like, yeah, I'm losing weight.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought you'd know, be big bodybuilder and all that.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
it's the worst too when people are like specific on, you know, I want to look like this person because like I don't ever want someone to say body goals or I want to look like you because, and I don't mean this like to sound silly, but like you're never going to look like me. Just like I'm never going to look like you. You want to be like the best version of yourself. And whatever that may look like, it's not going to look like me, and it's not going to look like Sean.
Well,
you know
That
what I mean?
applies all areas
media.
of capability too.
social media,
but
we such have a wide range of going, oh, that one, let's look like him. Or
Yeah.
like someone's
Yeah.
artwork, like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah.
It's like the time and effort and the energy of doing it. Like when someone goes, oh, you know, they get scared of running a 5K.
Yeah.
But an ultra marathon, you guys are like, that's crazy. But if I said, if you do a workout going, oh, I can bench this much, they're going to go, that's crazy. So it's like whatever idea or goal that you want to achieve is crazy to some people.
Yeah.
But it's ideal for the others. So it's kind of like, I think a lot of people just need to step back and like do what I think the way you got where you wanted to be right now is because you sat back and you opened your eyes and you know, this, I don't want to be this anymore. I want to be the best version of me. And you don't want to go, I want to be this person.
Totally. Yeah. And it's not past version of me. It's not even present version. It's like, who do I want to be? And
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
next day,
Yeah.
next year.
yeah.
All right, so we're going to end the segment. This is going to be a fun one. I went through your website and I pulled up your TL quiz. And we're going to explain some of these answers because some of them are going to be very interesting. Your TL quiz, the next place I want to travel, you put Croatia. Why?
Oh, Croatia's actually, this is like an older quiz, but Croatia's still been on my list for a really long time. We love to travel, like all over the place. Like we got back from Oaxaca last month. We were in Panama in January. We're, Costa Rica next month. I love Central America just because it's like easy and quick to get to, especially from Austin. But I'm such a beach person, and I've just seen photos and heard
Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi. Nowhere in Texas, but like usually we'll go somewhere where we can scuba dive or snorkel, and Croatia's just been very high on my list of like just beautiful
What's
places.
it now? I used to that's was an old list.
So that's why it's still there. I'm
Yeah.
like surprised that we haven't been there yet. But like, yeah, Croatia is pretty top all around like northern Italy. We like adventure, so we're going to Vancouver Island this summer, like adventure mountainy place, which is why we lived in Denver for so long. And then beach. Those are like the two kind of different.
Yeah, I just
things
got
that we
back
like.
from
Yeah.
Rome, Venice, Italy, and Florence. And then in May, I'm going to Montana and Vancouver. So yeah, I'm
Nice.
pretty excited about that.
Yes.
Next one, it's just there. When I'm not in the gym, you can usually find me wearing leggings and a sports bra. Is that kind of how it still stands as today? Is just being
Yeah.
casual?
Yes.
Don't give a shit about trying to,
Although already it's summer in Austin, so it's like in the 80s. Yeah, it's
don't
nice.
brag. Don't come in here so brag.
It's pretty nice. I'm like, this is too cold here in
Yesterday,
Denver.
Just wait till
yesterday
top
was pretty
summer.
good though. Yesterday
Yeah.
was 60.
Yesterday
It was
was
pretty
nice.
Yeah,
happy
we
about
just come
that.
back here in August. But so like my favorite kind of outfit is shorts and high socks, like cool, funky, like stance socks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Early bird or night owl?
See, I said night owl. I think I used to say night
Yeah.
owl. I'm an early bird
early bird
now.
too,
yeah, and I wouldn't even like. What do you consider early though?
Between 5 and 7.
Okay, so okay. I thought you were gonna say 6. I'm like a
That's what I would
6:30
say.
kind of gal.
Well, I think 7 is when like 7 to 5 job, 9 to 5 jobs. So when people usually go to work. So
Yeah.
I go off of the time you need to wake up. You wake up before that, so that's kind of an early bird. So if you
okay.
work at 9 and you want to wake up at 6 just for that, early bird is just waking up before you need to. That's what kind of.
So what if I'm neither?
Then this podcast just ended. I appreciate you coming out.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Have a
right,
great
no, I appreciate
day.
it.
Yeah.
Your favorite type of food? I'm gonna let you guess if it's changed.
Well, Mexican, but I'm Italian, and so I always feel bad saying that. But
gotta
Mexican.
choose.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know what? You can do so many things with a tortilla
Tacos.
and beans.
I've told you, man.
and
Tacos
salsa.
are the greatest creation in the human
Tacos,
world.
but also enchiladas. Like we just went to Oaxaca where you can do tayudas and it's like open face and there's just so many different options with a tortilla. They're just the best.
To me, I think taco is everything because a taco. See, you say like you got enchilada, you got a quesadilla, still taco. You just form a
taco.
different.
Different
Yeah,
wrapped
it's
up
the
taco.
same,
Same
3
thing.
ingredients.
I love tacos. I can make 10 different versions
Austin
of tacos.
has the best tacos though, that's for sure.
I don't know about all that, but I think Mexico's probably gonna have the
Well,
best.
better than Denver, I will say.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
When I was little, I wanted to be.
Me an actress.
You still want to be an actress?
No, I was when I was little.
It's a veterinarian, a chef, an
I feel like
actress,
you're
or a
still
pilot, and you chose the actress.
I'm definitely not going to be a chef. Teddy's the cook of the family.
So let's say you're in a movie.
Ooh.
What genre
Oh my
would
gosh.
you absolutely, without a doubt, I want to be in that?
Yes.
What genre?
Adventure, thriller. Oh, well, wait. Those are 2 different ones. I want to fly. I want to like be.
That's not a genre. It's not a genre. That could be in any genre.
just wanna
I've
fly.
seen,
I want to be a bird.
Fast and the Furious. Okay, we got
Oh
the
my
Fast
god,
and the
Fast and the
Furious.
Furious. I feel like they're still coming out with movies.
Oh,
I'm
they
like,
still
what
are.
the
Fast
hell?
10.
They are not abiding by gravity's laws. I will tell you that.
No, or like some sort of thriller, maybe like a scary movie.
Okay. So we went from adventure to scary movie.
We had the
You gotta
best of
choose.
both worlds.
You got to choose one.
No,
one.
but then also maybe maybe a
Superhero.
rom com.
I think rom-com would be good.
I mean, as long as like Ryan Reynolds is like my main guy.
I'll talk. I'll see what I can do. I can see what I can do. My basketball walk-up song would be, obviously, this is bring
It's
them
probably
out.
T.I. I was like, yeah, definitely still there. Yeah.
You're head of the basketball court right now. What's the song that gets you hyped? We'll say before fitness. When you what's your workout song?
Right now it's
First song.
Rumble.
Rumble. Okay.
It's just like every deadlift I've got to hit it with that song on in the background.
You're like, it's not going to be a good one if I don't have it.
This one's my favorite. Who would I want to play me in a movie? Myself. I'm an actress. Duh. Just kidding. Jennifer Lawrence. When was this done?
Too long ago.
I know.
Too long ago.
Like how old am I in
I
saying
don't know.
that?
I'm asking you.
Jennifer Lawrence. Okay, she's
I
still
think she can
cool.
still
Yeah,
work.
she's
I think
still,
Jennifer
she's
Lawrence
still
still work.
relevant.
Absolutely.
This is funny. I didn't know you were going to bring up my website.
I know. I was going to
Okay.
tell you this, but I was like, it's better for just your facial expressions to work out.
I'm curious about the ice cream truck.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually still relevant. I will
Someday
write that.
I want to own my own ice cream truck.
Okay, it's going to be now because that was probably like 3 years ago, 4 years
What's so
ago.
funny because it's like, fitness instructor, you got nutritionist. Or, I
Actress.
want to my own ice cream truck.
Yo, listen, I eat ice cream almost every night.
Yeah.
Every single
Certain
night.
flavors.
Cookie dough's like my top fave, but I love the chocolate and I has to be in a cone.
Okay.
But I'm gonna own an ice cream and marijuana truck one day. But it's not gonna be for a really long time, and it's gonna be right by a beach, preferably maybe in Central America. And Teddy's gonna be a scuba diving instructor, and I'm gonna have my ice cream truck.
Look at that.
I've got it planned in my head, but not for like a while because I still want the.
How
fitness
long?
life.
Because I'm about to get married in a little bit, so you can bring your ice cream truck, okay, and your marijuana stand. We'll do that.
Well, okay. Probably
We're gonna have a marijuana. We're gonna definitely have a station because I know a
Yes.
lot of people who own their own companies, so
Yeah.
they're gonna come out there and
Have
pre rolls
a-
everywhere,
Oh
and they're
my
just gonna
gosh!
sell stuff. Yeah.
Whole
Wish I
setup.
had that in
Oh,
mine.
that's gonna be
That's
awesome.
amazing. Not for
Ice
a while,
cream. You
so.
can get ice cream stuck right there next to the one. You're gonna be sell out crazy.
Oh
It's
my
gonna be crazy.
gosh! Like weddings are so expensive though. We tried to get an ice cream truck at ours, but a little too pricey. So now it's like, yeah, maybe I'll plan that for the future.
Okay. All right. My zodiac sign is a Gemini. Why do you feel like zodiac is like the zodiac symbols or the zodiac signs are very relevant for who you are as a person?
I don't like to be put in a box.
You don't want to wrote it. I don't. I'm just
You're
following
really
what
putting
you
me in
did.
this box. This quiz will haunt
This
me
whole
now.
thing is a box.
I gotta
Literally
take
an
this
iPhone.
out.
Look at the box.
Wow. I mean, some people say Geminis have 2 personalities. I probably have about 4. So
When's
yeah.
your birthday? When's your birthday?
June 7th.
June 21st.
Oh.
I'm the day. It's the longest day of the year.
Yes, summer.
It is Gemini and Cancer. Every leap year it changes.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
No, it's not. It's
Do you-
confusing.
Oh,
No, it's
wow. So
People
you,
go, oh, you're both. Oh, there you go. That explains everything. I was like,
Yeah.
you're bipolar. Like,
So
no,
do you
I'm not.
like having your
But-
birthday in June?
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
the best.
yeah.
When's your birthday?
January.
Oh, that's the worst.
This podcast just ended. I appreciate you guys coming.
Wait, my husband's is January 17th,
Okay.
and it's just like cold in winter and just like sad.
I like the snow.
Yeah. Do
I
you go,
love the snow.
Do you go to the mountains and go
Oh, yeah.
skiing or something? Okay, yeah.
I love
She
the.
doesn't-
I'm
she
learning
thinks it's too cold.
snowboard.
She doesn't like the
Okay.
cold.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not anymore.
After,
when,
did
you
when
ever do
you're
any
here for
skiing?
20
I
years.
lived in
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah.
I lived in Florida for 20 years. Okay,
Yeah.
and then I went to New York, and then I came here. So
Yeah.
my whole area of weather has changed drastically. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What
I
the
mean,
right
I
weather
live
is.
both. I go to Texas and here because I have family in Texas.
from
Where in
Texas.
Texas?
All over.
Oh, okay.
Literally,
You like the
I'm not from Texas.
Oh, he doesn't like to say he's from Texas. You know what? That's why I say you're like, oh, you're in Texas. I'm like, I'm in Austin.
I'm in Austin.
I'm not in Texas. I'm in Austin.
I got family all Wichita,
Okay, yeah.
El Paso, all the way to, oh my goodness, Emory.
all over.
All over,
Yeah,
yeah.
it basically takes like one full day to drive through
Pretty
to
much.
Texas. So
They'll still be like, yeah, that's still in the city.
worse. yeah, yeah.
I did notice some of the. Is it sponsors or just people you've worked with, like Finish Line?
Yeah, just
Oxygen,
brands I've worked with in the past.
For as in what, like modeling or?
I was on the
or-
cover of the Oxygen magazine, April 2021.
She
That's
knows
my
the exact date.
plan. That's my claim to fame. Thank you very
There you
much.
go.
I've worked with a lot of those brands in the past. I used to do a lot of collaborations. I would say probably in the past year, I don't do a ton of those anymore, just because, just because I haven't figured out the best brand that would work for me at this point in life.
Got a career on?
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of those are like athletic wear brands, and I just don't do a lot of that type of content anymore. I'm more just want to educate, inspire, and motivate, and also make people laugh with Teddy.
Where can people find you?
Instagram, TikTok, there are a lot. Tara Laferrara, but YouTube, Facebook, kind of everything. Just first and last name, Tara Laferrara.
The final thing is what do you expect people to take from this, your story? And what do you want people to take from it? And what words of wisdom can you give it to it for someone who is going through struggles, hard time, maybe some emotional vendetta against someone, or it's just something like where they're not in the right spot? Like what kind of advice can you give them from your personal experience?
Yeah, step back and stop being an asshole to yourself. Like that's one of the biggest things. I feel like so often we're just like so mean and cruel to ourselves. And we just need to like step back and be like, what is this helping me in any capacity at all? And then again, just like being around more supportive, uplifting, and incredible humans. I have a really, really good community in Austin and also just here in Denver of just friends that like we're all lifting each other up, we're all supporting each other, and we want everyone to succeed in what they're doing. And if you have people around you that are always complaining and always being negative, they don't deserve to be in your life.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out for the show. I'm glad to have you. Hopefully your competition goes well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Fuck everybody, get strong.
Yes,
and we'll still be admiring your work on social media, and hope to have you around again.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.